My first question says, how do I know I am ready to be in a relationship and not trying to fill a void or escape loneliness?
Relationship does not make you whole. So the first place you're starting from is the place of identity. Who are you? If you don't know who you are being single, you can't know who you are being married or in a relationship. So you have to start from that place. And you have to be content in who God has made you. If you're not happy or if you don't know what God has said concerning you, even if the guy tells you you're beautiful, you are my future, and you're not sure that you're beautiful, you're going to question that. No matter what somebody says concerning you, if God hasn't spoken those things over you, you're going to doubt it. So the only way to escape loneliness is to know who God has made you to be. That's the way you can escape loneliness.
Thank you, Pastor Dorcas. Pastor Seun, do you have anything to add?
So I know I always say a lot that, you shouldn't dwell too long on a past relationship and all of that. But there is such a thing as rebound. Rebound is when you know sincerely, genuinely, that you are not yet over your last relationship. You are not yet ready to get into a new one. You are not yet over it, which means that you haven't healed from it. If there is something that hurts you deeply, is why I always try to say that, try to make sure that while you are in this relationship, whether you want to call it dating or whatever it is, you are not going into things that you can't go out of. Yeah, you are not yet married until you are married. You don't need to submit to your boyfriend. You submit to your husband. Okay, you don't give marriage privileges until they actually put a ring on it. Those are the things. Now, when you are in that pit, if you come out of that, there will be less things for you to get over. That's why you can move on quickly. But if you have not yet gotten over the fellow, which means that every time there's nobody that, whether an official ex of mine or somebody that was just a distraction, or whatever it is, that I see now, whether online or in person, there's nothing. Do you understand that? Like, there's nothing. They are to me like somebody who comes and attends the church. There's nothing, there's no bitterness, there's no lump in my throat, there's no, I'm scrolling through and my day is ruined. Like, there's nothing like that. So if you're still scrolling on your feed and every time you see a friend of the guy, I'm not saying you saw the guy, you saw a friend of the guy, and your day is ruined, you are not ready for another relationship. You need to take your time to heal. Now, while you're healing, it's not that you sit at home. This is what I don't like. Yeah? You sit at home, you are depressed, you don't go out, you are not having your bath, there's no makeup. You guys know what I'm talking about. You are just sad, you are just depressed. You are allowed to do that for 3 days. After 3 days, Jesus must rise from the grave. After 3 days, you get up from that place and you go about your life. Now, go about your life does not mean jump into another relationship. It's just go about your life. Put yourself back on the market. If there's a house is trying to sell, pending offer, the offer did not go through, we'll put it back on the market. You're not going to go in your closet and say, this is the end, or my life is... What do you mean your life is destroyed? Because a guy... Yeah, and you hear all these things, and like, it's not that deep. The reason why you're so hurt, and I appreciate that, yeah, you've invested your time, you've done whatever, it's okay. But the reason why you feel that way, because you haven't seen what's coming. If you really see and understand what's coming, the moving on will be swift. Swift, like this. And the quicker you are able to make that switch, the faster God can reveal what is coming. Sometimes just your eyes that need to even be open. The brother might be sitting next to you.
Thank you, Pastor Seun. Let's give them a round of applause. Amazing. To piggyback of what you just said, pastors, about, moving on. So this question says, I'm merging a lot of questions together. It says, should we clearly tell God what we want in a spouse, or should we just wait for God to choose for us? People say different things. Some say God will pick for you. Others say you must be intentional about what you want. What is the balanced biblical approach?
Do you guys want the soft answer or the? He'll give you the hard one. Huh? Our own will be straight, like fire. So you might want to hear my own first. Because our own will be very straight. Now, this is the issue with this is you are being, number one, you are being discipled by too many people. That's the first problem. You need to find out who God has sent to you. Don't be a disciple of the internet. Okay? You are listening to too many voices. Everybody has different approaches to things because there are actually different approaches to this thing. This thing called marriage or choosing a life partner, there are many ways to get there. But there are different repercussions and consequences for each of those ways. The best and preferred way. You know, the Bible says it will give you the desires of your heart, right? That's Psalm 37 verse 4. But that scripture actually starts by saying, delight yourself in the Lord. We don't quote that part. The premise is delight yourself in the Lord. Then it will give you the desires of your heart. The reason why is that if you delight yourself in the Lord, that desire will not be your own. It will be his desire. That's the issue. Not everybody is at that place. That is God's preferred method. From today till tomorrow, I will defend that anywhere. If you ask God, what would you rather do? Because Adam was not the one who knew that he needed a wife. He had no clue what a wife was. God was the one who said, and God did not have a conversation with Adam about his specs. There was no such conversation. He never asked him, what do you desire? He didn't ask him, are you going to be sexually compatible with Eve? There was none of this stuff. Nothing like that. The reason why we are having all these conversations is because we are too enlightened now. And we know more than God does. If you are not in a place where you delight yourself in the Lord, you can't take that route. Because you will mess things up at some point. If you are the kind of person who is already delighting yourself in the Lord, you can trust him to tell you explicitly. And he must already be speaking to you about other things that you have tested and you have proven. So he has been talking to you about so many other things that have happened that are clear before you get to spouse. It's not when it's time for spouse that you start delighting yourself in the Lord. They've slid into your DM. You have looked at all their pictures. You are interested. Then you now say God. So you have a relationship with God. You have a history with God of how God deals with you, how God talks to you. If you are in that place, you can trust him to tell you clearly. Look, why is it easy for you to accept that God can tell you which university to go? Huh? Or which job offer to take? But when it becomes spouse, you now start saying God is not the one. Why? Okay, guys, can we have a conversation? Why? Why is it so hard to accept that? So do you agree that God can tell you, if you have two job offers, God can tell you which job offer to take? Do you agree? So why is it now marriage that God will now say is not my business? The same marriage that was not your idea. It was not your idea. The problem is, if you insist on making it your idea, please don't ask God. There is a path of boy meets girl. I like you. I'm interested in your... Oh, Holy Spirit, help me here. Huh? Your past tense and future tense interest me. Let's just call it that. Huh? Look, guy, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you understand? The only thing wrong with that is that you will face the consequences of that. That those things will fade away. And you will have to deal with the consequences of that choice. That's a path. Because that guy who everything is thinking about is the front and the back is not delighting himself in the Lord. He's not. Let's not fool ourselves. He's not delighting himself in the Lord. Because if you are, that will not be the first thing that you will notice. Okay, I think some of you are lost. I'll just leave you alone. Hear the answer of the woman of God, because like my own is now sounding harsh now. You guys are frowning at me now. I came here to have fun. I didn't come here to be frowned at. You are not frowning at me like, that's not what I want to hear. So all I'm saying is there are many ways to go about this stuff. There are many ways to go about it. God's preferred way is that you are his child. He has a relationship with you. If he can tell you other things, why can't he tell you that this is the person? Yeah, so you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that when you are saying my desires, have it in mind, guys, that those things will not remain that way. Even what you are calling your desire today will change in another year or two. I promise you. It will. Yeah. Then you will now, so what will you now do? You will now say, my desire is no longer my desire. Let's go and start again. Oh, you can't do that. But there is a God in heaven that knows your today and your tomorrow. He knows exactly what you are going to desire in 5 years. He knows that. You don't. So why can't you trust him with that? And just say, there are places where you would actually have something in your mind right now that you feel, this is a non-negotiable for me. That's okay. I'm saying to you that in 5 years' time, that your non-negotiable will not even be on the equation. I promise you, because I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. So that's all I'm going to say for now, so that I don't say too much. I don't want to make you sad. That's not my aim. Okay, I just want to tell you the truth. Did
Yeah, that's the truth. God will meet you wherever you are. That's the truth. If you can't trust, like what you said, you have to trust God absolutely, not just because you want to have a relationship. So it's not like, I can handle the other things myself, but this relationship, it has to come from God. What happens to how you live your life on a daily basis? And if that's where you're starting from, God is not going to say, okay, because you're coming to me for your relationship and you have not asked me about other things, I'm not going to say anything. It's going to meet you where you are. But make sure that once you go to God to ask for that relationship, you're ready to follow whatever it is God has told you. It's not like God will tell you something and you now run. If he tells you yes or no, you should be able to, if you've asked his ideas about it, you should be willing to do whatever it is God has said. But he will meet you wherever you are. But the preferred method is it gives you the desires.
Let me just add that, you see, some of these questions you guys are asking me, if you just pick the book was given to you, it's free. It's completely free. Every one of you have this book. If you take look, this is the easiest book you will ever read in your life, I promise you. Ask those who have read it. All these questions you're asking me, they are answered. This thing is very simple and straightforward. It's just whether you want to put in the work or not. Because marriage is the only thing we start with certificates instead of reading. Okay?
Thank you, pastors. Let's give them a round of applause. Amazing. So this question is under the questions about sexuality, desire, fantasies, and compatibility. So just keep that in mind. It says, this person says, for context. So this is the context. We are currently in a courtship with the intention of getting married. Is it appropriate to discuss your sexual history and past experiences with the person you are dating? These conversations are coming up because we are thinking about our future together and we want to be open and honest about our past, especially since we both have sexual histories.
So it's good to be honest about your histories, but there are things that so you have history. Let's put it on the table that you have history. But there are certain things that will not benefit you talking about it. In that, so that you're trying. So what are you trying to get with that? So if what you're trying to get across is openness, tell the person this is what your history is, this is what you've done. But if you're trying to find out your compatibility, because you cannot be compatible, that's not where to find out the compatibility issue. It's either the person is ready to wait to find out when you're married, but that openness is very important. You have to let the person know from the get-go what it is that you've been through. You can't test compatibility in your relationship. So, because this one you're looking at me, your relationship is not where to
They are not happy with you at all.
You cannot, that's not where to test your compatibility.
I'm here by your side, don't worry. They can't do anything to you. It's me and you, we are here together.
So wait, but be open. Yes.
If we can't, like you said, we can't test it.
Use the microphone
Sorry.
so that we can hear you.
We can't test it, but what if that becomes a problem when we get married, and that's what can lead to our divorce because I'm experienced. Now you're not like getting me to what I've done before. Like you're not like satisfying me, or I'm not getting to, all those things, or maybe the size was different or stuff like that.
That's no. Please express this. Express yourself. You are making perfect sense. Okay, and I will address this. I will go on. Go on.
So we can't have the thing before marriage, but now did it after marriage, and it was totally off. And that like from 100% love that I have for you, like came down to like 50% due to experience. So I mean, love cannot just do everything all at the same time. So how do you propose we handle that?
Okay, so there are a lot of things we can unpack that. There's so many things to unpack there. Okay, and there are so many things to unpack that are not aligned with where we started from. But I'm not going to go that route, so that because I want you to understand that your question is legit. It's a legit question, but the track, you're on a wrong track, like the lane, yeah, because there are different ways to get to a destination. But when you arrive there, you will not be the same. If I go on a first-class flight now to Toronto, and you go on a night bus to Toronto, eventually we will both arrive in Toronto. But I will arrive different. You will not be the same. Did you understand where I'm going with this? Yeah. So that lane is a wrong lane. That path is a wrong path. So when you are going into marriage, there's nothing wrong with you and the person talking about sex, which is what I think the person is asking. Talking about sex and saying, okay, because I have all this history, which again, like that's why I said there are a lot of things to unpack. That was not God's plan. That issue of sexual history and X is why we are emphasizing that, look, I promise you guys, you are better off waiting until you are married. Take it from somebody who waited 7 years for this lady. I did not die. I've told her this many times, over and over again. I said, you are the definition of my concept of a woman. I don't have pornography history. It's not because I've been a perfect, fellow, but I've been careful to make sure, because I know where I'm headed. I've been careful to make sure that I don't have too much to unlearn when the time comes. This is why I'm begging you guys. Look, I know that. Stay with me. We are going somewhere, right? We're going somewhere. So what you are going to do now, is this. You are going to have a conversation. It is not testing the mic that will make the mic bigger. The mic is the mic. Ask the person who made the mic, what can this mic do? What can he not do? Yeah? Which is the fellow. Talk to the guy. Like, this is who I am. This is what I've been. Now, what PD is telling you is, you don't need to go into all the details of how you did it, where you did it, and where it is. But you need to let them know that this is what I've done. This is, what I got. This is what I want. That is part of compatibility. If the guy sees that I cannot bear this burden, he can move on. There are many fishes in the ocean. Do you understand this? But it is a conversation, not consummation. It's a conversation. You talk about it. So you have a conversation about it. You tell the fellow, this is exactly what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. Now, if you now decide that because you are desperate to get married, you will trick this guy to accepting this, right? Or not tell him all the things, but you still have that desire inside your heart. Now you are being selfish. Now you are going to go into marriage. That marriage will not work. There's no way. It will not even last. Yeah. Because you will be, there was my wife knows who I'm referring to, the person who told us this story, who every time as he gets into the house, now it's a different thing when you walk into the house and your wife comes to hug you, welcome, that kind of thing. Like, this wife was simply somebody that could not be satisfied. Like, he said it so much, he said, I've tried. Like, the next thing is for me to die. Because I have tried. Like, I've done what a man should do. But as I'm coming into the door, she's going for my belt. Like, it's not even, how was your day? Or there's no prep. Every day. No, there are certain desires. Now, listen to this. There are certain desires that God did not give us. Pornography gave us those desires. So many other things gave us. God did not put it there. And we can't pin it on him. And now say it's his fault. That I must marry you, but you must accommodate all this. There's consequences. So even though what has happened, and there is history, God forgives, but you will bear the consequences. Part of those consequences will mean that some of those your desires, you will have to admit that you will not be able to meet those desires. You have to, because you are going to pay the price for what you have done. You're not going to now say, yeah, I've done all that, but still, I must get a man that is a machine. All those guys you are watching, they are on drugs. The guys that, there's no man that is wired that way. Finish now, start again. Finish now, start again. You are on drugs. You are literally on, something is wrong. That's not the typical natural thing. So don't go into marriage with those expectations and they do it a lot in movies. You will see it in movies a lot. They'll say, they just got up from the bed now. That's why you must be very careful what you are feeding yourself with, guys. These things are serious things. Just got up from the bed and the woman woke up, then he came and touched him again. They started kissing again, started again. Is that how it is? It's not. That's what I'm telling you. That's not normal. That's not the way it is. So these are the conversations that you need to have, right? Talk about it and tell the guy, this is. If I'm the fellow, if he's a fellow that knows that this is dangerous territory for me, he just stays away. Yeah, let him go and find the person that suits that. Yeah, so that's part of compatibility. You talk about it, but the talking cannot go under the cloth. Because once, now you have done your test drive, you now find out that you are not compatible. You have become one with this person. So now you are going to go and find another person. You have added more to your problem than what you started with. Because now you have added this other, because no matter how bad the guy is, there will be something that you take from that. It doesn't matter how bad it is. And it will be added to your, no guys, look. Listen to this. There are two ways to do this thing. Your marriage has a 100% chance of success if you do it God's way. God's way is not the easy way. It has a lot of self-discipline, a lot of self-sacrifice, all of that. There's another way to do it. We don't have to necessarily label it the devil's way, but it's the worldly way to do it. It's a secular way of doing things. You are allowed to go that route, but you must be prepared for what comes on that track. You have to be ready for that. So what we cannot do is to try to eat our cake and still have it. That you enjoy the once you eat the cake, it's gone. But what we want to do is to have that experience, the joy of eating the cake. It feels nice. Then on the wedding day, still present the cake. Dude, you ate it. So you have to deal with the consequences that when others are eating their own cake, you won't have. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you worthless. You know all those things that the devil tries to put in your head. No, it's not about that. It is consequences. If I'm Solomon, I sleep with somebody who is not my wife, and I have a child, God will forgive me. But God has the right to make sure that I experience the consequence. Consequences are different from whether God forgives you. God is a merciful God. He will forgive you. But if you have an abortion, your womb gets taken out, that is a consequence. You have to face that consequence. That you can't blame that on God and say, oh God, you must give me a new womb because I'm a child of God. That's mercy you need to pray for. At that point, you are talking about mercy because you are dealing with the consequence of an action. I hope this is clear. Okay, so please, it's not to say, okay, don't talk, because I know whether or not you get an answer with me. Sometimes we already know what we want to do, but I'm telling you that there is God's way of doing this thing, and these are legitimate questions that we all have in our head at some point in time. Do you think that when we're dating and we said we're not going to sleep together, you think I was just waiting for some miraculous revelation at the wedding day? I had conversations. With her about it. That, okay, are you okay with this? Is this something you would like to do? And there were things that she was very clear about. And I had to make a mind renewal to say, okay, that will not be happening. Okay. Okay. And you have to adjust. There's nothing, you adjust to that. And you move on. Because you see this thing that you guys are, this is why I said, next year, by God's grace, we will make this bigger. It will not be in church. So that my wife will not be giving you amen. We'll go out to a school or something, a hall. I'll bring older couples, come and talk to you. You see, there's a stage you will get to. Now, in your 20s and 30s, and it's okay. because your body is functioning properly. That's just what it's telling you, that there's nothing wrong with you. You are all right. But there is going to come a time, yeah, that even when you have the desire, there's too much bukata. You know what bukata is? How can we explain bukata? Bukata is a thing that happens in life. You know when you say adulting is a scam? That thing is called bukata. Is bills. Bills. It's not just bills. Bukata is more than bills. It's a compendium of a lot of things. Bills, children, stress. There's so many things that happen. That thing, that's why when the whole thing is centered on that feeling and the spark and the thing, you are starting on a very dangerous ground, though. Very dangerous ground. Because there will be days where you will not, look, your mind will be telling you, go and do it. You will say, please leave me. You will be telling your mind that, leave me, I don't have the energy. Leave me alone. I'm not doing this today. Because life is lifing. But if that is the, like I'm saying it now, is entering here, just going out, pardon, leave that one. Let it happen first. Let it happen first. We'll be okay.
Let's give a round of applause. Woo! All right. Pastor Dorcas, you can take this one. It says, what advice do you have for someone who comes from a broken home where both parents are separated? How does one ensure that this doesn't repeat itself in their marriage?
That's very, it's deep. But the good thing about God is not surprised that you are from a broken marriage or your broken home. So that even if you're surprised that it's a decision your parents made without your own consent, God is not surprised by that. And God already has a way for you to actually succeed despite that. But the onus is on you, and that's why the Bible says that it sets the solitary in families. And one of the families that the Lord has set you is your church family. God is going to put people around you, and it's left for you to say, what is it that you're looking for in a marriage that you haven't seen? Because a lot of us might be saying, God forbid it will not happen in my own home. God forbid it's not a strategy. I'm sure you know that, right? Like, oh, God forbid bad thing. You do this, it's not a strategy. It will never happen to me. That's not a strategy. The strategy is that you're intentional about what you want to see. And what is happening around you, look for a godly relationship. And live, you might not even have opportunity to live around them. Ask questions. Serve them. Serve them. That's one of the things God blessed me with. Like just watching closely, like being around couples that have marriages that thrive, just watching them. Sometimes I saw childcare a lot. That was the gift I saw to a lot of couples, just staying around them, helping them to watch their baby, and you see how they relate with themselves. You see, okay, this I want. And the other thing is you want to know what you do not want to take. The fact that you're saying this happened in my parents' marriage, or maybe somebody that you grew up with, I don't want it to happen in my marriage, and you don't make steps to correct it, you're going to do exactly those things that you said you don't want to do. It's called patterning. Yeah, it's not because you have no choice about it. You return to your default because that's what you know. That's what your brain will return to anytime that happens. So the only way to not go back to that is to look for replacement. Replacement by prayer is going to expose those things to God, that, Lord, these are things, especially you did not cause those things to happen in your parents' marriage. To expose it to God, that, Lord, show me what it is that you want. Because it's the one we said that God is the one that originated marriage. And you give me a true picture of what my future will be. And it's going to start pointing people out to you. Read books. But trauma does not disappear by itself. You have to work on it, expose it to God, learn, and make sure that you're picking, when you see, ask questions. What is it that has made your marriage succeed? And the moment you start seeing things you're repeating, especially even when you're in a relationship and you start seeing yourself doing the things that you saw your uncle or your daddy or your mommy did, you have to take action to start doing them. If you say, no, it's just a one-time thing, you're living in deception. So those are things that trauma do not disappear by itself. And the fact that we are born again does not mean, remember that your spirit that gets regenerated. your soul and your body, they need continuous renewal. Your soul needs continuous renewal. The same thing with trauma. You need to expose it. Sometimes you might need to actually go for counseling. You might need to go for therapy so that you can onboarding or let them put, especially Christian counseling, so that they can tell you what you need to do in line with getting out of that. Because the Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. So marriage or trauma issues is not something that you wait until you get to the marriage before you start correcting it. Now is the right time to start learning from those that are doing it right, reading about it and praying and exposing those hurts to God in prayer and let him heal you. You want to add anything?
Let's give her a round of applause. Just want to do a quick vibe check. Does anyone have any questions in person? Want to go, or we're sending them? Oh,
So my question is, you dated somebody and they have been mean to you. They've been wicked. They've treated you badly. And I know we're supposed to forgive as Christians. Let's say you've forgiven them. You remove them from your heart. But my question is, when exactly do they get punished for all the bad things that they have done to you? Because sometimes it feels like life goes on for them and they're having a good time. Nothing bad has happened to them. They're living the best of lives. And you have to maybe live with the consequences of what they have done to you. Say, for instance, maybe they scammed you, they stole from you, and you're paying back that debt and all of that. But there's no punishment for them. It's as if God is blessing them. They're living their lives well, and you're just there. Maybe nothing is really even going on for you. You're still living in that whole scenario. So, my question is, how do they get that punishment, and how do you move on from that?
Okay, that's a good question. But that's a theological question. It's not a dating question, but it's a very good question. Where you need to come from with this is, you see, this is why I said it's a theological question. Your recompense is not really that they get punished. That's not really what you're looking for. What you are looking for is for God to compensate you for what happened. That's what you are looking for. Their punishment will not serve you any good. What God does, when he says when you do go to somebody who has hurt you, you heap a coal on his head. That's why I said I can't go into the theology of it. But what that thing is saying is not that you put hot fire on their head so that they can burn. Yeah? It is so that God can give to you a recompense that compensates for everything that you are working with your spouse, yeah? You're about to board a flight, and the fellow is struggling in economy, and you are going to your private jet hangar, and he's waving at you. And you are like, do I know you? Do you understand what I'm talking about? It's not that God is punishing him for anything, but God will put you in a place that when you look back, you will say, in fact, there's no need for punishment for this guy. Like, really? Because God, you have been good to me. And there's no need for that. Now, we've said already that there's consequences to people's actions. God is a merciful God. If somebody hurts you and they ask God for mercy, because he is a just God, he has to be merciful to them. What justice means is that after God shows this man mercy, he shows you a recompense. So he compensates you for what happened to you. He shows that guy mercy. But there's still one more thing left. You guys have forgotten already. Consequence. That consequence, he go pack him. It's not. Do you understand that the consequence is not going anywhere? You will face it. It doesn't matter how merciful God has been to you. You will face that consequence. But it is not for you to desire, like let him just catch crocro, or let him just lose his job. Because I saw it on somebody's post. Like, I literally saw it. You are looking at your ex picture and you are commenting, let him catch crocro. Just move on. Do you understand? It's like the example that I always use, right? That somebody got fired from a job, yeah? Somebody got fired from a job now, and he was crying because they lied. Somebody lied, and they did him dirty. They fired him. Crying. You can go home and be crying and say, God, burn down the company. Or do this. When God was going to do it, he ended up in a bid for one of the biggest contracts in Nigeria. Huh? It was him against the company that fired him, and he ended up winning the bid. There's no amount of punishment. Look, he will prepare a table for you in the presence. There's no need for them to die. They must see. That one is better than you heard that he died in an accident. He doesn't even know that your life was better. How will he know that if he's not alive? So there's no need to, that's not the way God's justice system works. God is God. And the way he operates is that he shows mercy to whom he will show mercy. But for you, there has to be compassion and recompense for what has happened to you. But before that will happen, you must let the person go. If you don't do that, that system does not start working. If you are still holding them inside, you are the one bearing the pain. You are the one. Yeah, you will be the one bearing the pain. But the moment you let it go, God now says, okay, let's start this process now. Oga, this is what you did. Are you sorry or you're not sorry? If you are not sorry, you chop the thing. You chop both the punishment and the consequence. But if he repents, God, because he's just, has to show him mercy. He has to. But that mercy, as he's showing him, there's now a recompense that is coming to you. There are so many things that you enjoy in your lives that you don't know. That is because of certain things that you have let go. Some principles that you practice that you let go of, God is now rewarding you with things that you say, I don't know how this thing happened. It just happened to me. No, it didn't just happen. Because God is a just God. Okay? So that's the summary. Okay? That's a good teaching topic that you just gave me. Okay? Very good question.
Round of applause. Thank you, PS. All right. So this question is under healing, restoration, and sexual struggles. How does someone seek genuine restoration from God after repeated disobedience, sexual sin, and relational disappointment, especially when shame is involved? And how can they walk in freedom, self-control, and confidence? And this I'm adding here, it says, including conversations about their virginity. So someone had a question about that, like how do they answer someone that asks them, are you a virgin? So without being defined.
I'll start first.
Okay.
I know the question is very long.
Yes.
Let me start from are you a virgin? Are you a virgin? Is it a yes or no? There's no spiritual, I'm a spiritual virgin or physical virgin.
I think they feel ashamed to answer it or something.
So, and that's the lie of the enemy. Mm-hmm. In as much as your virginity is a gift, the fact that you have sinned, do you know the things you've done against God? Why is God not asking you certain things and say, did you steal, did you lie? And God say, you did that. So if you're ashamed to actually own it up to the person, that means you actually have a bigger problem, because the person you should be ashamed of owing that sin to is God. Are we right? If you are able to, so it's like some of us don't have God. If I'm a virgin or I'm not a virgin, it's not your business. It's the person then you have a problem, because the person you hold that to it says, we did not make ourselves. He made us for his own glory. So if there is an issue with your virginity, you have to sort that out with God first. And if God speaks mercy over you, you are not looking for people to validate that. If he cannot or she cannot take the fact that you are no longer a virgin, then it's on him or her. But you have to have sorted that out with God first. Are we clear? You're not moving, because it's like some of us, we just want to get into this marriage relationship. I don't care how God feels about it. You have to care about how God feels about it. Because if the guy accepts you or the girl accepts you and God does not accept you, you're not going anywhere. That's why that part is very important. You have to sort it out with God. It's the confidence, and whatever mercy speaks over you, that's the confidence you have to answer that question. You're not answering it from the place of shame or condemnation, because you've been forgiven. You should be sorry for your action, because you have deprived this person of that gift, because that should be a gift. So, but you're not saying that I'm not a virgin and you're feeling shy or condemned. If there's any iota of condemnation when you say that to that person, that means the person is not for you. So that is clear.
Yes, the first part was about restoration after repeated disobedience, sexual sin, especially if shame is involved, and how can they walk in freedom, confidence?
You need, God is not surprised that you're falling into repeated sin. But it says there's no temptation that comes, but there's always this way of escape. The reason why we keep falling into repeated sin is because we have not taken that way of escape. And for some of us, the way of escape is actually to have accountability around your life. Boundaries. You should have people that can actually ask you that, I've had people that I've told, they will tell me I'm going to go see somebody, and I'll ask you need to send me the address of the person. If you don't have people over your life that can tell you that, are you going to be sleeping in the person's house? you're going to visit your boyfriend, where are you going to sleep? Who are you going to stay with? If you don't have people that can speak truth over your life, you're going to keep falling into that error. And that's why, because all of us want to do, like, I'm a big girl. I'm old enough. I can make my own decision. You can take care of yourself. That's why we're in this. You should have people that you can tell them that, actually, I know of someone that when her boyfriend visits her, she sends location to her friend so that they can track where both of them are. That's accountability. It's not monitoring. And that's what some of us don't want to do. So if you keep falling into the same issue, it's not like God will not forgive you. You know, He has a lot of mercy. He will never run out of mercy. But you're damaging yourself. The more you can keep coming back, but you have to be truthful to yourself. And the truthfulness you're going to exercise is putting parameters around your life, putting boundaries, and is giving people permission to ask you those difficult questions. That you can tell someone that I'm going to be meeting with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, or she's, especially when you have that, they shouldn't even be meeting in the house. You should not be going to a movie that the light will be put off. You sit in front. You have to, is either you want to remain what God, you can't be saying you want to walk in this and you don't want to do what is required. Is either you want to do what is required or you don't want to do what is required. And one of the ways, and God knows, He knows that there are some things that you might not be able to actually stay put on. You might have made commitment that, Lord, I will not do this again. But the only way you will not do that again is to actually put guards, rails around your life. Give people permission that I'm going to see my boyfriend, I'm going to see my girlfriend today. This is where we are going to be. Go out in groups. Go out in groups. So you are looking at me that it's supposed to be dates, right? Like, why are we going out in groups? By the way, this is just popping into my head, and it might be for somebody. When we were dating, I said, some of us sisters are very spiritual. We say, let's pray together. We never prayed together once by ourselves, not even one. My husband said, no. Then it was not my husband. He was like, no, whatever prayer point you have, tell me, we'll pray separately and we'll come back and discuss the prayer. Not once that we'll pray. We say you are doing prayer points. And some of us is vigil. Both of you alone, you are doing vigil. Right? So you have to put, you should know, you have to be truthful to yourself. Don't deceive yourself. So don't put expectation of things that you can't fulfill. And the way you do it is just being accountability saves you a lot of things. When you give people permission to actually ask you the tough question, and you're not asking them, why are you asking me this? That will save us a lot of trouble. And God is merciful. The other part is you've already asked for forgiveness, but God is merciful. But the only thing is the damage is on you, because the enemy is going to have that. What did the Bible call the enemy? It says what is the accuser of the brethren. And do you think he has forgotten how many times you did it? He will remind you the date and the time and the location. So even if you can, the one you cannot remember, the devil, he's going to remind you. So for you to have clear conscience before God and man, then you have to walk in that purity of heart.
Thank you, Pastor Dorcas. Let's give her a round of applause. So, Pastor Seun, this question is clearly from a man. And they said, as a man who has had less experience in sex, in brackets, 3 body counts, is it advisable to marry a lady with 16 body counts? Honest advice.
Okay, I think that question woke everybody up. I wanted to ask if everybody's okay, first of all. Is everybody doing all right? Okay. Please check somebody beside you. Are you okay? Are you all right? You doing well? Okay. All right. If everybody's fine, then let's be here, okay? Let's be here and let's pay attention. Don't be distracted. It's a very good question, okay? It's a very, very good question. So again, premise. Your premise is wrong. To begin with, I appreciate the question. It's a very honest question, but that premise is very wrong. You see, it's a good thing that you even know this information. It's a blessing. Because if you don't know this information, you'll be contending with a lot of things that you don't know, you will not understand where they're coming from. But that you already know, you can be prepared for what you are going to face. There are so many other things. You see, sex is a very important part of the equation, but it's just one part of the equation. I know this does not make sense right now. It's like, is there anything else? Like, what else is there? But I promise you, it's just one part of the equation. Yes, it's a very important part, no doubt about that. But it is one part of the equation. So you said you have less experience, but your less experience is equal to 3. Dude, that's enough experience. Because the God that created you put something inside you that without experience, you will be able to satisfy your spouse. Without experience. Now, especially a man. Look, a man does not need tutorial for this thing that we're talking about. You see, wait, do you guys want frank answers or you want me to? Okay, let me stand up. I always tell my wife that late in the midnight hour, a man is a man. The wiring of a man does not need tutorials. I promise you this. You see, for ladies, you can still be, ladies can still be, because by the design, one person is the giver, the other is the receiver. That's the design. The instinct that God put in man is the reason why the first thing God said was be fruitful and multiply. The way he's going to go about that is that there are some times that the man does not actually want the responsibility, but the wiring of be fruitful and multiply kicks in. You guys don't want honest answers. Your faces are like, ah. So, trust that the person who created you knows what he has put inside of you. How did Adam know what to do with Eve? There was no TV. There was no phone. There was nothing. There was no manual. How did they know what to do? Because the God that made you put that wiring on the inside of you. The reason why I'm talking about this thing called premise is this. If you don't cut off the source of all the images and information and expectations that you have, that thing, you will never get to the point of satisfaction. You will always keep having what is known as the law of diminishing returns. Nobody that is addicted to sex ever gets satisfied. There is no point of satisfaction. The design of God is that you choose to be satisfied with the one that God has given you. That is what separates an eagle from every other bird. Because throughout his life, the eagle has only one partner. It's by choice. One. If the partner of an eagle dies, as far as the eagle is concerned, sex has died. Oh, you guys don't get it. You see, that's a different level. That's the reason why the eagle can operate at certain levels that other birds can't. Because they are dispensing all their energy. You see all this body count you are saying? You are going into marriage now. Huh? You are no longer 2 that are becoming 1. You are 19. What's the calculation? 16 and 3. And the 2 are... Now, that is just being frank. That is not to ridicule you for the question or to make you... I'm just being frank with you. Because when 2 of you come together, sex is not a casual activity. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's not a body count thing. You are becoming one with each person that you expose yourself to. So you are going into that marriage with all of that. Now, it's not that it's not possible for you to have a marriage and be... but you must be ready for... Yeah, that the beginning of the work is, you shut the door, first of all. The source of all that lifestyle, of all those things, you close the door against it, first of all. The past, when we say the past is the past, what it really means to say the past is the past is that from this day forward, which means I have stopped doing that. It's not that I still have relapse once in a while, and it's fine. No, I have stopped. It's like when somebody is in debt, and they say, stop digging the hole. The first thing is stop using the credit card. That's the first thing. They are not going to tell you, when it's really bad, like when it's like really bad, just use it a bit. No, you're not yet getting out of the hole. The beginning is Stop the leak first. When you put away, see, half of the things that are our so-called desires and what we are fantasizing about, what we are dreaming about, that thing did not come from God. We got it from somewhere. What God really put in you is for one person. I'm telling you about the original design. It's for one person. And if you stick with God, you will realize, like, when we say agape comes from a devotion to God, if you stick to that devotion, now some of you have experienced what I'm saying. If you sustain that devotion to God for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, you find out that you have no desire for all these things you are talking about. You don't have it. The minute you slip away from that devotion to God and you start exposing yourself again to your shows, even your music. You go back to your playlist. You got all I want to do to you, you're gonna come home with me. You are feeding your spirit something. It's a desire it's building. Yeah. So if nobody comes home with you from Love Code, it's like, hey, all I want to come home with me. As you are here now, you have earphone inside your ear. All I want to do to you as I look at you, and then we still want things to be normal. You can't be normal, guy. You can't. If you want to be normal, you have to go back to the template. The normal template was clean. It's a clean slate where you experience something with somebody and every day is a new experience. Every day you are figuring stuff out. You are learning, okay, I see, okay, so that's the, okay. Then after some time, you find out another thing. I'll be like, I did not know that was the original intention. And that is why it's going to last a lifetime. But if you come into the thing, you already have, as you are talking now about this count, there's nothing in that question that says, I intend to stop at 3. Did you hear it? Why are you laughing? Did you hear it in the question? It's not there now. It doesn't say that, right? Because there has to be a desire to first stop the leak. That desire must be there. If it's not there, we can talk. We can talk. Like I'm encouraging you guys, let's talk, right? Let's talk. But you guys have to understand that there's a premise for the answer that you want. If you want the answer of peace, as they say, there is a premise for it. But there are other things. So what we cannot do, though, is to want to eat our cake and have it. What I would advise is have a conversation. Sometimes all this, body count that we're talking about, even though in the sight of God you are joining yourself with people, at the end of the day, the two of you, if you make up your mind that you want to actually work together, because marriage is about compromise. To say, I'm going to let go of certain things, I will let go of certain things, and the two of us will come together. You can have conversations, but make sure that you are clear about your expectations. You are clear, you are very, very clear about what your expectations are and this person, because now you are not starting with the original template. So you can't pretend that you are starting with that template. So you talk to each other about it and say, this is what has happened, this is what has happened. If possible, you involve a counselor in the equation. Okay? I know around here, they are very not cheap. But involve somebody who has some experience in this thing, okay? To talk to you guys about what you're about to get yourselves into. Because the two of you must agree. Two cannot work together except they agree. There must be an agreement. And in that agreement, there will be compromise. There will be. But as far as whether you are up to the task, if that is implied in that question, I assure you, you are. As long as you are not dealing with a medical condition or something that is a dysfunction. Yeah. If it's a normal human being and a normal human being, male and female, there is a wiring in the male. Just look at hen and cock when they are pursuing each other. You can bring a gun and tell the cock, I will shoot you. It will finish. Be pointing your gun. It will finish what it's doing. It will be pursuing like this. As if his life depends on this. I'm telling you, that's the wiring. And that is that thing that the women use against men when they want to be mean. Yeah, because they know that wiring is there. It's not the same for the woman. All you guys are here, you might be saying, oh, my hormones are this, my hormones are that. Trust me, your hormones ain't nothing compared to the guy. I promise you. It ain't nothing. When you get to a certain age, though, then it begins to shift. Yeah, that's why I said I would like to expose you to older couples. So you'll see that the dynamics will soon shift. Now you are the man is the one who is always like, please, please, please. It will come to a season where the reverse will be the case. So it's a natural tendency, but you are more than up to the task. Okay? And the Lord will help you in Jesus' name.
Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Pastor Dorcas. This person said, I ended a relationship / engagement last year. What if I don't feel like being in a relationship anymore? I know I want to be married one day, but should I be preparing even now? And I want to merge that with how do you get over someone who is still part of your life through friends or church?
So I think the answer to the second part is something Pastor already said. And if the relationship was pure, you wouldn't have any issue. No matter so the reason why you still have a problem with the person is because there's something that happened that shouldn't have happened. So that one you have to heal. You have to talk through it. You have to talk through that. So the first question was someone that just broke up an engagement or so.
Yes, and they don't feel like being in a relationship anymore, but they still desire marriage.
Yeah. So there's nothing you're in a good spot to be learning. You don't want to, it's not when somebody else shows up, that's when you want to start learning. When there is nobody, that's when you should actually be learning. So all this learning that we are doing now, because I know some of us you are not really paying attention, like, because there is free food, and if I don't come, PS will be on my case. That's why some of us are here. This is the best time to actually learn, because it's not when you're in the relationship that you start learning. So for that person, please learn, and you know what happened and at least you can pick from the things that happened that shouldn't have happened, and you're using that as a learning point. What did I do wrong, or what happened? So use that to learn. But this is the most important season to be learning and praying towards the relationship, especially since you still have the desire to still be married. Pray towards it, learn towards it, and attend conferences, pay for courses on relationships. Don't wait for the freebies. Like, invest in it so that when the person shows up, you are better prepared. It's not because you have learned when the person shows up, it's going to be easy. But you're better prepared to handle certain things. You know, sometimes they will do the way they will teach us something in class. The teacher will do an example. They will tell you, go and solve the problem. And it's not the same thing. Sometimes that's how it is with relationship. You read all of this book, then it's like they will say on exceptions. It's like your own relationship is the exception. But at least you have the basic knowledge, and you have somewhere to start from. So learn, pray, seek counsel. And I think another thing to do is if there were people that knew you, let them give you feedback that, okay, was there anything you did? Because sometimes you might be trying to look back at the relationship, but you're not sincere with yourself, and you're just trying to put the blame on the other person. The person did not do this, but those looking from the outside might be able to actually tell you certain things that you did, but you did not know that was what happened.
Let's give her a round of applause. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, she does. Oh, they do. Okay. Yes.
My question was, you mentioned about the dating app, and I wanted to know, where should Christians look when 80% of the church is mostly women?
Okay. I won't agree with that stat, but there's more women in church than men. And there's a reason for that. But let's not go into that. You see, the problem with the dating is not the dating app, but the dating culture. That's why I was very clear to be specific about that. The apps are just part of the tools that are encouraging that culture. Yeah? They are. I mean, I'm not on any dating app, so I don't know what, They are supposedly Christian dating apps, where when you go on that app, at least presumably on principle, you are expecting that it's a believer who is on the other end of the conversation. Yeah? You can meet, and I was still having this conversation with someone in person recently, that you can meet people anywhere. Church is not the only place where you can meet a believer. Yeah? But you must be out there. What being out there means is that you are not, number one, your Instagram profile is not private. Now, my wife's Instagram profile can be private because she's locked. If you are not locked, remove the padlock. Do you guys understand this? These are the simple things. Look, there are so many brothers that are interested in you, but don't have the courage. That's why you hear me on this stage. Those of you who attend this church, I tell you that you have to learn this thing. You must learn it. It's something you must learn. There are brothers who are quietly looking at you, and in their mind, you are not, I'm not good enough to ask this girl out, right? So, look, there's nobody, God is not a wicked God. There's nobody that God made. Even the people, that's why I'm against this idea of it's not fine, his hair is too big, it's too low. Because God's creation, there's nobody that God has made that he didn't make a mate for. Everybody has a mate. Every single person. It doesn't matter what the person looks like. What you are saying you don't like is what another person is dying for. So it has nothing to do with that. It's just we must be deliberate. If we want to be, you said you want to be found. Yeah? While you are not yet married, your makeup must be on fleek. You can't be showing up in church and be saying it's just a no makeup day. What will you do when you get married? No. Are you guys getting what I'm saying here? No. Forget that one. No, forget that. I'm saying to you that you must present yourself in a way that somebody looks at you and says, okay, I'll go and pray to God about this. Not that they look at you and they're like, especially when you're in a church environment, you know, church, if a new girl comes to church, all the brothers will turn their face. Who's that? After a few visits, the true colors will start showing. I'm not saying every day you must be, painted up, padded up, but at least put lip gloss. Put a nice earring. Do you understand? Cover your hair. Don't let loose like you don't care. Because you care. So if you care, please care. If you care, present yourself like you care. Yeah? Because you see these guys, a lot of them, like I was saying, they don't have that courage to say they want to. So what they will do first is they'll go and stalk you. Have you seen guys that mistakenly liked your picture and quickly unliked it? It's because they were stalking you. They were stalking your picture. They didn't mean to double click, but you know how this thing is. When you're overdoing it, you will just double tap. And you say, what have I done? So they are looking everywhere. They are looking at all the possible angles. In love code, I called it connection, which is they are looking for an entry point. They are looking for a way to get access. That's why gatherings like this are very good. It puts everybody on a common playing field, where you can walk up to somebody in this gathering and say, hi, what's your name? They are not going to say, who are you to talk to me? There's nothing like that. So you attend gatherings like this. You go to events. You go to the mall. You are not frowning at everybody. The same way you were saying the guys should not be frowning, you too cannot be frowning. I don't want to marry an angry woman. So these are little things. Little things. Now, when I asked my wife to marry me, there was no basis on which I think I was high on the Holy Ghost, because there was no basis. Like you guys know, she's a year older than I am. At the point, she was more spiritual than me. I was not a pastor. I used to tie bandana on my head and wear Timberland boots. I did not look like I even knew God. This is why the appearance cannot be what you are looking at. But at that point, I was hearing God more than some pastors. So it had nothing to do with my appearance. My appearance was just a contradiction because I was still interested in looking cool. I didn't want to be the guy that wasn't the cool guy. So I was still dressed anyhow. She looked at me I can never forget the day that I went to meet her. I said, she looked at me. You know when they say I looked at him from head to toe? This was not theoretical. She literally looked at me like this and said, how? And I understood where she was coming from, because technically, How? From where to where? Like, how would you say? In fact, when I told some of the guys that were my friends, I told them that they said, you don't mess up, Seun, you don't mess up. You don't even find any, no, it's not, imagine, the guys I was talking were calling her Auntie-Dorcas. That is not Auntie-Dorcas. I'm telling you, it's not Auntie-Dorcas you should go and be asking now. You find your mate. I said, don't worry. But that is the problem of some guys. I'm telling you what the problem is. Some guys are literally just scared. They are they don't have that, and because they think that they don't have, now it took God convincing her on my behalf. Because if you actually looked at me from head to toe, truly, I looked like there was no hope. Because me too, I would not have married myself. Recently, I was looking at a picture. I found a picture in my study. I was looking through my books. I found a picture. When we went to invite Mommy Gio for a program, I was standing beside Mommy Gio's car when we invited Mommy Gio for a program in our church. I looked like a broom. I looked at myself. I said, God, you know that picture you put on Instagram and say, throwback, that the internet will break. I didn't look like, but the one thing though is when she asked me any question and words came out of my mouth, she too knew that, but boy, in the future. Do you understand that? Yeah. That this guy is going somewhere. Yeah. I may not have looked like it because I was not born with a silver spoon. I didn't have any resources to do, but I knew exactly where I was going. Yeah. So what I'm saying is the places where you are going to meet people, the internet is still a thing. Look, we can't get away from it. The internet is a thing. You will meet people online. Half of the people in this church, some of them have relationships, so as you are interacting, be careful. Some of them, they are Caro and Pious. They are in different provinces. Okay? They are in different places, yeah? That's the world we live in now. That will happen. So, be online. There's nothing wrong with being online. I'm talking about the culture of dating, which is that I'm going on this app. You are not even going there with the singleness of mind that I want to, okay, if I say this now, it will sound very weird. Did you even ask God whether you should be on the dating app? Have you ever thought of that? Because it's a no-brainer. It's a dating app. Have you ever said, God is my portion? Or you think God does not know where your spouse is? I'm not saying that to read your spouse's name and address to you. But at least ask him for guidance. That is it on this dating app? If God says to you, your spouse is on a dating app, please be waking up and sleeping there. Every day you wake up, just go there. Because that's what God has said to you. But if God didn't tell you that, look, that dating app culture is not the way people find lasting love. Most people find lasting love in community. In community. Where they are in a place where there are other people. Now, initially, the person may not look like the package. It's why I always use the example of Big Brother. That people who come into a house, they lock them up. They don't like each other. They are trying to show who is the, all the dominant personalities are showing up. Some people are just in one corner. They are doing that. It's a matter of time. Because under the right temperature and pressure, you will fall in love. Like you when you finish falling in love, they'll be begging you that you can't marry this person. Say, leave me, I'll die. If I don't marry her, I'll die. But when the girl came into the house, you were saying, who is this one? That's what that dating app thing is. The person that God designed for you may have swiped the person away. You may have done that because you are looking from the flesh. You're just looking at the appearance and you are swiping people. And the person you have swiped, guys, I wish you can see my heart. That all you need to do is put yourself out there, but you are not selling a false version or trying to market your because every girl's profile picture now must have cleavage. Yeah? So that's what you are marketing. So when they start asking you, what are you wearing? Send me a picture. It's because of what they saw. Do you understand, guy? Okay. You see, you have changed your face again. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I can say and what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. Yeah? Now, you might not like the answer I'm giving you, okay? Look, I'm saying you are looking for lasting love. Oh. You know why we talk about arranged marriages? Some of the best relationship stories that I've heard of people that are still standing to today, it was someone who knew somebody else that introduced them. But today, we think that those things are beneath us. How can somebody be like that they are matchmaking me? No, I'm old enough to find my own spouse. But you are not finding the spouse. So somebody who knows someone else is saying, I know someone that you guys are very compatible. The reason why they are saying that is because, you see, that compatibility is more crucial than romantic love. It's more crucial because it's more powerful. So they have looked at you, they have seen certain traits, they know this person, and they're saying, my friend's brother, you guys will be very good together. He said, please, leave me alone. It's just little things like that. It's little things like that. So be out there, but again, this is the balance. Remember the things we talked about. Were you here during the session when I spoke first, before we did the question? No, I'm talking to the lady that asked the question. Were you there? Okay. So you remember the statements we finished with? Yeah? Look, you are better married than single. That's true. But you are better off single than being married to a fool. I promise you are. There is nothing broken about you as a single person. You are good. There's nothing broken about you. The fact that you are single does not mean your life is less than somebody who is married. There are people who you are envying, who are married, who would rather trade places with you. They would do it happily because as far as they're concerned, I married wrong. And part of that is the desperation for it. So there is the safe place is desire. Once it crosses over to desperation, and you start ignoring all the things that are not, especially in a climate like this where, it's almost like the options are limited, in quotes, right? I mean, if you are in, the country where you were born or whatever, you find so many people, but here it's like, if I don't find here, it's not. Am I making sense? Okay. I'm sorry if I'm not making you happy, but I promise you one thing, though. When your marriage starts to work, you will be happy with me. You will look back at these conversations we're having and you will thank God for it. That's if you are listening and you are taking notes. But my final advice to you, and she's asking the question, there are so many of you that are probably in this space. Don't forget where we started when I started talking from. The beginning of this journey is to ask the one that created you. That is the beginning of it. I don't know how deep you are with your relationship with God, but wherever you are, God will hear you. Start from there. And say, God, you are the one who created me. It is your desire for me to be happily married. That's your desire. God, that desire is God's desire. He was the one who initiated the concept of all of us being married. It was not our idea. So you let him know that, God, I know this is your idea for me, and you are good to me enough to be able to connect me with the person that you have created for me. Wherever the person is, wherever they are going to come from. The same way you, by faith, call your job. You are praying to God, give me job. I call it forth from the north, west, east, and south. Is the man you should be calling. Wherever you are, or the woman, wherever you are in the world, our paths are crossing in the name of Jesus Christ. There is nothing wrong with that. Do you understand? So it's not that you say, your matter has reached to be praying. No, to be praying is actually where you begin from. That's where you start from. And you start that journey from that point. Say, God, as I go about my life, as I'm browsing the internet, whatever I'm doing, let our paths cross, my line align with the person that you have ordained for me. That's all you need to do. Yeah, but please don't get it to the point of desperation where you now see signs. Yeah, you see things that somebody is doing. If you are dating somebody, I know the guys will be very angry with this, but I'll tell you. You are dating somebody. Should I tell them? You are dating somebody who is a chronic cheat. Look, he does not have eyes for only one woman. And you know. You have caught him cheating. He has apologized. You have caught him cheating. He has apologized. You have entered one chance. One chance is a phenomenon where you enter a bus that is full of kidnappers and there's only one seat that is left. Once you enter, they close the door. And they carry you to the bush. You see, being trapped with a cheat is more traumatic than even physical abuse, as bad as it is. I'm telling you. Like, somebody whose phone cannot be here, is in the bathroom, the phone rings, he runs out of the bathroom to grab the phone. You have entered one chance, I promise you. Because that guy, look, if he doesn't have the control now to say, I have found you, I will stay with you. There is not, the ring will not put that thing inside him. It will not. You are dealing with a very big issue. So somebody who is, because I heard you guys talking about password the other time. Yeah? Look, if anything happens to me as I am like this, God forbid, I will live very long. But as I am like, if anything happens to me, my wife knows everything. There's nothing will change. The only thing is that you won't see me again. She will open my phone, she will open my computer, she has access to my life because there's nothing to hide. If there is something to hide, you will not be able to leave your things. So, and you will see those signs. While you are dating, you will see them. I'm not saying every time you people are exchanging phone or whatever, but there's no, that's, once you see, I'm begging you, once you see that, trust me, you are dealing with a fellow who is not, it's better for, even for him, it's better for him to go and learn that discipline first and become a man before he marries you. Because marrying you is when you now start talking about satisfying me or not satisfying me. Marrying you will not put an end to it. If anything, it will even escalate the problem. Because in his mind, I'm now stuck with just, this is how this is going to be. And he will now start devising means. And people are stuck in relationships. This is why marriage is getting a bad name. Where you now say, I heard this person's story. And nobody's story should define your experience. Yeah. Don't let anybody tell you that because I had this bad, it can even be your mother. Don't let anybody's story. Are you listening to me? Yes, this is about you, God, and the person you are marrying. But you must start with God in the equation. Because you can't come at the end and come and just attach God somewhere in the package. It must be there from the beginning with you. If you do it that way, your marriage will succeed and you will be happy in it. But you start from there's a lane. It's not all this.
Let's give Pastor a round of applause. And we've come to the end of our Q&A. Woo!